every time I record, I'm like, I'm going to get Jeff to put DW40 on this. And every time you come back in, it's like,
or it's, I'm going to get a new chair. Yeah, I heard.
Oh, I need a new one for my office. Worse than this office.
Yeah.
I hate that fucking chair. I just
They
got
have
it
this
because it
chair
looks
that
cute.
I have in brown. I don't know if brown would be better for you, but they have.
So they have sides?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't like sides. I like it to just be like this one is just like a big, like a wide, and because I like to put my feet up. Mm-hmm. But I also was like looking at like alternative seating and like alternative chairs, and I think I'm gonna get an alternative chair, like where it's like it's got like a little back, but the seat part is like kind of wider, like a kidney bean, and then there's like just right under it is like two other spots, so like you can sit like crisscross applesauce, mm-hmm. but like you're sitting up further, like kind of like if you were sitting on like a yoga block. Yeah. Or I've looked at the ones that don't have a back and that you can. That are like the chair, and then it's got like the feet thing that come up. Mm-hmm. So like you can either like rest your shins on it or put your feet on it. Mm. So, but then I was like, no, I like to have a back. Anyways, this is not what this is about.
It's not about ergonomics of office space.
I really got into it of like, man, I need a new chair. Let's talk about it. Really help me work through this. Anyways, hello, everybody. Hello. Welcome to our PS episode. I don't think we've just, after hiatus, and I don't feel like we've decided on a theme, but maybe we'll turn this into an unofficial theme. But right now, we decided that the best thing to start off with, because the holidays are coming up, and typically you see a lot of people in your life, whether it be family or coworkers or like work parties and all these other things, where you have to communicate. And you have to communicate openly. Sometimes you need to set boundaries. Sometimes it's just that there's overall the theme of communication and connection. So we decided to talk about a DBT skill that is near and dear to our hearts, but we've changed it a bit from what we found in our research at when we were working at Rogers, right? Because we were working with teens. And so if we were to lay out this process with teens, they were like, oh, it's too long. Oh my God. So I did some research.
I feel that way too.
Exactly. And when I look at it, I'm like, well, I don't want to do that. Because I also feel like there's some steps in the skill that it's like, right. So it's gone. My train of thought that I was saying. So at Rogers, I did some research and I found this, shortened down version. I don't think it's watered down because I still think that it's very impactful. It's just a shortened version. Mm-hmm. So skill we're talking about today is Dear Man. Mm-hmm. So, Steph, do you want to tackle Dear Man or do you want to tackle our shortened version?
I can do Dear Man.
Okay.
This is one that I still teach to clients. It's not that I teach it, right? But if they are coming up on having a hard conversation, I will literally walk through and I will have them what I call Dear Man the situation, right? Where they can walk through with me and take notes. Mm-hmm. And I've had people have really, really big success with using this technique in order to get their point across, right? Because what happens when we have emotional conversations? We get caught up in our emotions and we lose logic, right? I know that that's a big thing for me. If I am kind of emotionally elevated, excuse me, I tend to lose sight of like the facts of the situation. So what Dear Man does is it brings you back, and it's an acronym, right? So each letter stands for something. So in a Dear Man situation, the D stands for describe. So you're describing the situation at hand, just sticking to facts. This is not the emotional part of the conversation, right? Mm-hmm. So you would factually bring up how you're feeling or what happened or the subject matter of what it is that you want to talk about. The E is when you express your feelings and opinions about the situation. The key part of this is not to assume that whoever it is that you're talking to can read your mind. Right. You have to be clear in what you are expressing, because mind reading is not a thing. It doesn't matter how well you know somebody. You don't know what they're thinking or feeling or have opinions about. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. The A is when you assert yourself, right? So this is where you respectfully assert what you want or what you want out of the situation, right? Or saying no in a clear, concise manner, right? Yeah. Again, the theme of this is to understand that they cannot read your mind. They cannot predict what you are going to say or how you feel. So the clearer you are, the better. Mm-hmm. R is when you reinforce or reward the person ahead of time, right? So it's validating for them while also keeping your boundary, right? So for example, I would really love it if you did XYZ, it would calm my nerves, right? If this was a situation where somebody was doing something that maybe was anxiety provoking for you, or if it was a situation where you didn't feel hurt, I would really appreciate it if you expressed your emotions in that situation, so I feel more at ease, right? So it's like a reciprocal situation. Man, these fucking cigarettes I'm smoking, guys.
I know. I literally woke up this morning and I was like, I was like going through it. I was like, what the fuck? It's allergies. It's fucking allergies.
Dumb. Okay.
It is.
The M is mindful. So while it's not exactly like a step that you have to write down unless you need this reminder of like, be present in the moment. Again, I've talked about this before. I have always been the queen of trying to figure out exactly how a conversation is going to go before I even have it, right? Well, they're going to say this and I'm going to say this and then I'll rebut with this. You can't possibly know how a conversation is going to play out. The more present you are in the conversation, the smoother that conversation is going to be, because they are going to feel heard and listened to because you are there. You're not in your head trying to figure out how to rebut against what they just said. The A is to appear confident. I know that emotional conversations are hard. More times than not, I end up crying because I'm so overwhelmed by everything that I'm trying to express that it just kind of happens. Like I'm an angry crier, I'm a sad crier, I'm an overwhelmed crier, right? Maybe not everybody sees that because I don't tend to like show that to people, right? But if it's like an intimate conversation, I mean, Mari's seen it plenty of times in Marco Polo where I just like, I can't help it. Like it just comes out. It's okay to cry and still appear confident, right? Like you can still get your word out. And here's the other caveat to this, you guys. There is nothing wrong with writing through this entire communication style and reading off a piece of paper. There is no shame in that. I have had people do it in session and it has gone beautifully because they feel confident because they're like, I have what I'm going to say in front of me and it makes me feel better. It makes me feel more secure. Have I had people dear man something and then go into the conversation and it just kind of goes haywire a little bit? Yeah, but they still get their point across. That's okay. We just want you to feel comfortable in what you're doing and expressing and know that you're doing this for you. The final step is to negotiate, right? So be willing to compromise in a way that feels good to you. I am not saying bend your boundaries. I'm not saying give in to people. I'm not saying to fucking let all that shit go out the window and you just give in to whatever somebody else wants. That's not what I'm saying. In a relationship though, there is compromise in situations. So do what feels good to you while also respecting your wishes and your boundaries and your needs. Does that make sense?
Yeah, 100%. 100%. So
that's the dear man version. So Mari's got
that's the dear man version. And while we definitely feel like this is a very effective way of